In a bid to learn from previous mistakes, Arsenal are being proactive. So let's find out which player have they signed to a 5-year contract. Are the Gunners also eyeing up a transfer for a Bundesliga centre-back? What's been confirmed between Arsenal and Man City? And let's get the latest team news ahead of our visit to Southampton. Yo, what is going on guys? My name is Babs14 and welcome back to your boys channel. A massive game tomorrow at Southampton, and after Man City won their game and closed the gap down to 1 point, Arsenal have a chance to respond tomorrow. So with that being said, smash a like on the video if you enjoy and subscribe to the channel if you are new, as your boy is closing into 130k, so a gargantuan shout out to you guys. But let's get into the breaking Arsenal news, as the Daily Express claimed that Arsenal are expected to re-explore the signings of another wide forward and a central midfielder in January. Arteta wants to acquire a versatile forward who can interchange positions across the side's front line and provide healthy competition for Martinelli and Saka. If Arsenal want to become a club that can compete in every single competition, whether that is the Premier League or maybe someday the Champions League, if you look at the top teams like Man City, they might have Phil Foden and Mahrez starting, but on the bench they have Jack Grealish, they have the likes of Alvarez. These guys have options. We need quality and depth going forwards, and that's where Arsenal are looking for a versatile forward that is almost a 2-in-1 signing. Someone who fits the bill is Atletico Madrid's Joao Felix. And according to English reporter Paul Brown, Arsenal have for a long time looked at Joao Felix. I think he is known very well to some of the hierarchy there, who are big fans and have been for quite a while, because during the course of his career at Madrid, he's played as a number 9, as a false 9, as well as on the left and right hand sides. But even more importantly, Joao Felix is a player that has so much talent, and for me, the basic fundamentals. You see, Gabriel Martinelli and Bukayo Saka are fantastic talents, but they weren't seen as superstars coming through the academy. They were seen as good talents, but under a top coach like Mikel Arteta, they have become fantastic wide forwards. You then look at Joao Felix, who was seen as a proper wonder kid, and the reason why Atletico Madrid spent over £100 million to sign him in the first place. The only reason why I don't think he's worked out at Madrid is because he doesn't suit the profile of Diego Simeone. But with his core fundamentals, you think of Mikel Arteta's career and what he done at Man City, Raheem Sterling, Leroy Sané, then at Arsenal with Martinelli and Bukayo Saka. If he was to get his hands on a versatile wide forward like Joao Felix, who would be seen as almost a 2-in-1 signing, he may well be expensive, but under the coaching of Mikel Arteta, he might be worth the money. The Express also claimed that Arsenal are open to signing a left-sided centre-back to cover Gabriel Magalhaes, but that could happen in the summer. The Gunners would also like to sign some extra support and competition for Granit Xhaka and Thomas Partey. The midfield all the Arsenal fans know about, but in terms of a left-sided centre-back, on the right-hand side Arsenal have Saliba, you can have Ben White, and even Tomiyasu can play there. But on the left-hand side as a left-footed centre-back, we only really have Gabriel Magalhaes. But when you look into the market and you look for top ball-playing left-footed centre-backs, especially in January, there aren't that many realistic options. But there is one specific opportunity of a left-footed centre-back playing in the Bundesliga, and that is Eintracht Frankfurt's Evan Ndicka. According to Simon Collins, Ndicka has emerged as a transfer option for Arsenal. The 23-year-old Ndicka is out of contract at the end of the season, and Frankfurt could be tempted to sell the player in January. The profile of Ndicka stands out massively. At 23 years of age, he's got a lot of potential to grow, and he is a real powerful centre-back standing at 6'3". He excels in aerial duels. Ndicka is a very aggressive defender. He wants to meet his markers, which makes him very decent in terms of tackling, but more importantly, playing as a left-sided centre-back in a back three. Ever since breaking into the Frankfurt team back in 2018, Ndicka has proven to be a very good player at stepping out of the back and more than comfortable in terms of carrying the ball. In fact, last year in all competitions, he had 4 goals and 4 assists as a left-sided centre-back. Now I understand that playing on a back 3 and a back 4 isn't the same, but when you look at the physical profile of Ndicka and the raw talent he possesses, with those fundamentals, I think under the coaching of Mikel Arteta, there is a centre-back there in the making. But the most important thing in all of this, Ndicka's contract expires at the end of this season, and that means he either leaves Frankfurt on a free, or they will have to sell him for a cut price in the January transfer window. Arsenal definitely want to sign a left-footed centre-back. there is a very good reason why they wanted Lisandro Martinez, and they also looked at Chelsea's Levi Colwill. But Ndicka definitely stands out as a potential fantastic opportunity, but is also wanted by Tottenham Hotspurs. But as Arsenal look for competition for Gabriel Magalhaes, comment down below what player do you think that should be. Arsenal have confirmed that they are delighted to announce that Gabriel Magalhaes has signed a new long-term contract with the club. An RKO out of nowhere, but nonetheless a confirmed re-signing of a contract. As Gabriel says, I am very happy to sign this new contract with Arsenal because it is such a big club. It's my dream and today is the best day of my life. I am so happy to extend my contract here. And even in terms of the Arsenal boss Mikel Arteta, he says Gabby has shown huge qualities since joining us. He is a young player with a great work ethic, and his consistent strong performances have been hugely important to us over the past 2 seasons. And according to Kaya Kayanak, Gabriel's new deal will run at Arsenal until 2027. For a lot of Arsenal fans, this was a bit of a surprise, but in terms of myself, when I think about it, and more importantly, as Fabrizio Romano says, 2 clubs wanted Gabriel last summer, including Juventus, but Arsenal always wanted to keep him. At 24 years of age, even though Gabriel is not perfect, he definitely stands out as one of the best left-footed centre-backs in the world. And this graphic here of Gabriel's centre-back radar templates for this season sums it all up. Not only is he adding attacking value, but in terms of in possession, whether it's final third entries, progressive passes, progressive carries, and even in terms of pass efficiency, Gabriel is up there with the very best. And even though at times he can be a bit too emotional and defensively he can make a few mistakes, there is a reason why he was a man in demand in the summer, and Arsenal realised, with the shortage of top left-footed ball-playing centre-backs, for me, Arsenal have one of the very few potential ones, so it makes a lot of sense to secure his long-term Arsenal future. But comment down below your thoughts on Gabriel's new contracts. But talking of contracts, according to Fabrizio Romano, Arsenal are still optimistic on Bukayo Saka's new deal, as talks have been ongoing for months, and it is a top priority for the club, as negotiations will continue in order to reach full agreement. With Ryan Taylor of The Express going as far as saying, talks for Saka's new deal are at an advanced stage. Wanted by the likes of Chelsea, Man City, Liverpool confirmed. It's not just Arsenal fans that understand how special a player Bukayo Saka is, but even in terms of one of the greatest players of all time in Ronaldinho, he voted for Bukayo Saka as 3rd place for this year's Copa Trophy. Saka has got the Dino co-sign, and now for Arsenal, after extending Gabriel's contract, Bukayo Saka, William Saliba and Gabriel Martinelli are all next up in line for brand new contracts. Moving on to Southampton versus Arsenal. A gargantuan game at St Mary's as always, as Arsenal have a chance to re-extend their lead to 4 points at the top of the Premier League, up against Southampton in 15th place. Their midweek win against Bournemouth was their first in 5 league games, with their last win before that being all the way back in August. And in comparison, Arsenal have won their last 8 games in a row. We are the most informed team in Europe, but Southampton are a team that are going to pose their own sort of threats, as Southampton average 11.5 interceptions per match, the highest in the Premier League. Just like Leeds, Southampton are a very aggressive team and the defenders like to play on the front foot. But that defence can definitely be get at, as they have conceded 15.1 XG this season, the 6th highest in the Premier League. But more importantly going forwards, they have some good players and Shea Adams can cause issues, but they've only created an XG of 10 this season, the 2nd lowest in the Premier League. But in terms of their team news, still without Tino Livramento, who is out with a long-term injury, with the likes of Armel Balakotchap and Kyle Walker-Peters also being massive doubts. But more importantly, their star midfield summer signing, Romeo Lavia, is very close to a return. But in terms of the mighty Arsenal, the likes of Bukayo Saka and Gabriel Martinelli were confirmed in first team training, and even in terms of Alexander Zinchenko, Arteta confirms that he is in contention to play in this game. The potential return of Zinchenko could be gargantuan, but in terms of how Mikel Arteta is going to line up, the classic 4-3-3 with Ramsdale in goal and a back four of Ben White, William Saliba, Gabriel Magalhaes, and I've gone for Kieran Tierney. A midfield three of Partey, Odegaard, Xhaka, and that front three of Gabriel Martinelli, Gabriel Jesus, and Bukayo Saka. One change from our last league game against Leeds, Tomiyasu out, Tierney in. I love Tomiyasu as a player, but as a left back, Tierney for me is the far better option, and most likely up against the likes of El Yunusi and Djenepo. If Zinchenko is not 100%, Tierney has to start. Now tactically, this is going to be a very intriguing matchup. Southampton have not been special this season, but at home they can cause teams issues, having already beaten Chelsea at St Mary's. And they are somewhat similar to Leeds in the fact they can be aggressive, and by nature, Hasenhutl's teams like to press. but the difference is they aren't as successful, being mid-table in terms of possession won in the final third. But in terms of Ralph Hasenhuttl going into the game, he says Arsenal are possibly the best team in the league at the moment, and they are a super developed team with a lot of individual quality. My only real concern is the Thursday-Sunday fixtures. Last week against Leeds we collapsed physically in the second half. This week against PSV was a good performance, but the likes of Jesus and Saka and Gabriel Magalhaes played a majority of the 90 minutes. And we can't forget the last season, Southampton actually beat us at St Mary's. Let me know your thoughts going into this game, and most importantly, comment down below your matchday predictions. Moving on to the other Arsenal news today, and starting off with the Arsenal ladies on fire in the Champions League, up against 8-time Champions League winners in Lyon. After goals from Caitlin Ford, Beth Mead and Frida Manum, Arsenal won 5-1 away from home. The Lyon ladies are massive in the Champions League, the record holders, so for us to go there, win 5-1 at their ground, a gargantuan shout out to the Arsenal ladies, sending out a statement to the rest of Europe. You've also had Arsenal loanee Charlie Patino putting in a man of the match performance as Blackpool beat Preston 4-2. As a 90-minute he made 50 touches, 2 key passes, 1 assist, 1 shot, 1 goal, 4 ground balls won, 1 clearance, 3 interceptions and 4 tackles. 1 assist and 1 stunning goal from outside the box. Charlie Patino is a standout Arsenal talent and he's a player that next season, if he's able to gain regular first team minutes at Blackpool, having started 8 league games this season, with his heat map showing that he is occupying very similar spaces to Granit Xhaka, under Mikel Arteta next season, Charlie Patino could be cooking. Arsenal legend Gilberto Silva says that Edu Gaspar has a good relationship with Brazilian clubs and Arsenal will try to sign Palmeiras wonder kid Endrick, who is 16 years old. Silva cites Martinelli as a good example of young players getting chances to showcase their potential at the club. Endrick is a super talent coming out of Brazil, and over the 5 years in Palmeiras' youth academy, 165 goals and 169 appearances. Earlier this month he became the youngest ever player to make his first team debut for Palmeiras, the same team that produced Gabriel Jesus. Just like Jesus, Endrick is also a striker, and he's drawing comparisons from the likes of Romario and even from some of R9. According to reports, Arsenal vs Man City in the Premier League will be rescheduled for earlier in the new year. Arsenal Man City was meant to be played last week, but after our game for PSV was pushed forwards, that game had to be postponed. And it is a game of the top 2 teams and it would have been very intriguing at the Emirates Stadium, but now pushed forward towards maybe January, the same month where Arsenal will play Man United at home and Tottenham Hotspur away. It's going to be one almighty gargantuan game, but that's all the way in the future, so for now the focus is against Southampton at St Mary's this weekend. But that's the video there and there, so hopefully you have enjoyed. If you have, smash a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Follow your boy on all of his social medias, the links are down below in the description. But that was all of today's latest Arsenal news and some transfer news, a bit of a preview, but most importantly the confirmed re-signing of the future of Gabriel Magalhaes. Next up, Saliba, Saka and Martinelli. I'll see you next time, take care and in a bit.